Matt Williams, how you doing today?
Thank you very much, Scott. I'm doing great. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Today is our Wednesday, March 16th Q&A webinar. I'm glad you guys are all here. I'm going to take some time and go through some of the latest features of our product, answer any questions that you guys may have. We'll keep it interactive, and we'll wrap this up, within like 45 minutes or so. So why don't we just get started here? Our disclaimer, let's get this out of the way. We are an incredible software development company. We make great idea generation technology, but we are not a registered investment advisor. So any of the stocks that I'm going to talk about today, please do not construe that as investment advice. We know nothing about your financial situation. We're just showing you how we can identify great opportunities in the stock market. I mean, that's why we're here, guys. We've been doing this for just about going on 20 years now. We've created this and enhanced this tool and really morphed it into a platform, if you will, that really delivers idea generation throughout the stock trading day. So when things happen in real time, we deliver that information right to you, and you're presented with the option of entering into that trade. You know, we're not a broker, but we do facilitate transactions through a couple of different brokers, but our software can be used alongside any trading platform. We don't need to integrate with it or connect to it. It can just be your eyes on the market. So let's go ahead and just get started. A little bit of a presentation. It's not much of a
I'm here, buddy, by the way.
Thank God. I mean, what would we have done?
That's right.
So a little bit of our accolades here. We're going on our 5th year for the Inc. 5000. So we've done a great job from a growth perspective, and that's thanks to you guys. But we won't spend too much time on that. I do want to highlight some of the latest features that we have in our latest download. So if you go to our website, download the latest version. If you have not, we don't have a beta. So the beta's been migrated up to our production version. It's 5.569. We've got a lot of new features and functions in that download. Part of that is the race. We've had the race in a couple of iterations of our downloads, but the latest version really does have all the latest enhancements to the race. So I encourage you to upgrade to this version to get that. We've also done some numerous things to our charting. I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but we have added some real-time halt indication to the chart. So when a stock's been halted and you happen to pull it up on your chart, you're going to see instantly that it's halted or it's in a halted state. We've added some additional enhancements to our smart risk zone on our chart, which gives you an indication based upon how you have your AI configured from a dollar perspective or a share size perspective, what your risk metrics are if you were to get into a trade at that point in time. We have a smart stop that has an algorithm on every single stock. It looks at the stock's range for the day, its volatility, its relative volume, and comes up with a threshold for you, what we consider as a good realistic stop point if you were to enter into that trade, and then a profit target, which is a multiple of that stop. Some other things that we've done to the software recently is we've really extended our pre-market data. Right now, we're firing the engine up at 1 a.m. Pacific time, 4 a.m. Eastern time. So we've added a couple of hours to our pre-market data, and you can spot opportunities like I'm showing here with VIP. So at 1 in the morning, this thing started lighting up, and if you happen to be a night owl and you like that kind of thing, you can really participate in some of the market action that happens early in the morning now. And we have talked a little bit about this in some previous webinars, but we're out allowing a lot of different chart customizations right now, not only from a color perspective and gradients, but also the chart type that you're looking at. We've also added some new indicators. I believe there's a new MACD indicator that's available on there. And we've never really been thinking that charts are the most important thing to your trading, but we've spent the last couple of years really enhancing our charts to be a real formidable charting application on its own if you want it to be. Also, we've enhanced our performance monitor. There's a little icon in the upper right corner of your toolbar. It's this little green icon right here. If you click on it, it's gonna populate this performance monitor, and it's gonna give you some statistics. if your computer is laggy or having some problems, if the software is not working to your likability, you can click on that icon and it'll pop this metric up and you can see if there are any outstanding issues. If there's something that's not in green, it could be in yellow or red, letting you know that there's some type of problem in one of these areas. And Dan wanted me to run one of our special early stage development versions, but I just couldn't do it. I was getting too many errors as I was kind of leading up to the webinar, but I took a screenshot of what is happening here. I'm gonna actually, this is a great spot for Dan to interject because he'd probably like to talk about this little feature.
So let me jump into this, Brad, and maybe can we just share your screen from the software, because I'll talk to
Well,
it.
the problem is I can't run this version. There are too many errors and too many bugs.
Gotcha. Yeah.
That's
Well,
why I put it into a screenshot.
let me run the version. Let's switch to me then.
Oh, no. I mean, I can run a regular version that has
Yeah,
regular.
run the regular version. You don't need to run. Okay, perfect. Okay, so let's go to the AI channel real quick. Okay, guys, so the AI is a constant work in progress, as I'm sure you know, and the reason is because there is no magical goose that laid the golden egg system. You have to constantly work at it. It's sort of like a boxer or professional athlete. You're always in training, you're looking at your opponents, you're sort of metaphorically doing film analysis. So one of the things we noticed is that fear is a driving focus for most people. So what we did was, and because so few people are on purely automated trading mode of the AI, which is again, fine, and you can do it, we decided to filter the AI based on profitable trades, but it's not cherry picking like you think. Brad, uncheck it to none. Okay, so if you look at all the trades today, and let's do a quick count, Brad. There were, I believe, a total of, let's see, 1, 2,
10.
3. What's the total number?
10.
10 trades. Of the 10 trades, there were 2 that were not profitable today. Okay. You can see them right there in the change from entry. And as you know, we have 3 different modes. And let's, Brad, click on the 3 real quick and let's just review for talking purposes. Conservative mode, okay, is a mode that gets you in and gets you out, what's called either at a time, like the exit reason that you see there is the exit, or and a lot of it is timed exit. So timed exit means that, hey, this thing ran its sort of allotted time. That doesn't mean it won't go further, but from a back test perspective, and it's time to get out based on the statistics. What happened to LI, Brad? Is that?
I don't know. I have to look at that. I don't know why I didn't get the exit signal on it.
Yeah, maybe we'll figure that out later. But you can see there's another mode called profit save, like I'm squinting, IONQ, right?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Underneath max.
Yep.
Yeah, IONQ. So you can see it got out with a profit save. So our software not only gets you in, but it tries to help you maximize the profit. And part of that is being nimble enough to like say, hey, this isn't working out, let's get out. And so it does all of this stuff for you, but this is conservative mode. And this is where you are really like seat belted and it's the full on, it's doing all the work for you. Now, moderate mode, Brad, maybe you can comment on the differential between conservative and moderate to make it easy for people to understand.
Yeah, so like for instance, like Dan was saying on the conservative, all of these different strategies are back tested with a time horizon, if you will, in there. You know, in order to determine a profitability of a trade, you've got to say, okay, I'm going to get out at a certain time. And so each strategy that we have has an optimal timed exit. Maybe it's 30 minutes, maybe it's 2 hours, maybe it's the end of the day. And so the conservative exit is going to get you out if it's not stopped out or hitting a profit target at that timed exit. Where the difference between the moderate profit is, even though it wasn't optimized on the time frame of the end of the day, it's really trying to hold all of these positions to the end of the day. So conservative is looking at a particular time frame. Moderate is trying to hold it to the end of the day. If it gets stopped out, it's going to get stopped out. The difference between
but it also has a re-entry trigger, and you can see that on the right corner. So there were 3 different re-entries, and Brad, let's maybe talk to that and why we did it. Because again, remember guys, the market is fluid. It's not this rigid thing. So here, let's look at the first re-entry, Brad, or whichever one, it doesn't really matter. Okay, perfect.
That's fine. So we've got this particular trade right here. I'll zoom in a little bit, get a better view. It was called out right here at this particular candle, and we sold it right here at this particular point. That's the conservative trade right there. But now remember, for moderate, we're going to try to hold it to the end of the day unless it gets stopped out. And that's what happened right here. You can see by continuing to hold it past the conservative exit, it actually got stopped out right at this point right here. So after a stock gets stopped out, we're always still looking at that as an opportunity if it starts to retrace back up towards its original entry price. And that's what happened here. So at the price of 24.27, thinking it's probably somewhere in this range right here, as that stock got stopped out and then continued to go back up, it then gave us a re-entry trigger price. So you can use that as an opportunity depending upon the market conditions. If you want to get back in, then you can do that and then take advantage of that particular AI signal.
That's right, and that's how the re-entry works, and that's the idea. And of course, aggressive mode basically takes all of that out. And Brad, just put that on real quick. And you can see the columns in the AI will change. So aggressive mode is just keeping you in. And today, it was a perfect day to be like that. It's kind of like you bet on the right direction and you stay in it with the right stocks. And this is, Brad, how much money did you put into your AI settings?
So I have it set, and you can see it right here on my AI strategies trades. I have it set up to trade the equivalent of $5,000 worth on every trade. And so it tells me exactly how many shares it would be for that $5,000.
Brad, do me one favor. And again, this is a great exercise, and we're going to actually have these data points that are easier to see, but change your AI settings to 1 share.
Tools,
and the reason I'm doing this
options.
is to showcase specifically just 1. Okay,
1 share.
So this tells you how many points of plus or minus gain did the AI do and in the various modes. So you can see in the conservative mode, it did 5.76 points. That means if you were trading 100 shares, hypothetically speaking, you would have made $576 if you got it perfectly. If you were in moderate mode, you would have made $700 trading 100 shares. And if you were in aggressive mode, you would have made $874 trading 100 shares. So it's quite a nice gainer. Now, notice on the, you can put in whatever you want.
I changed it to 100 because you did the math yourself, right?
Of course. And of course, you can also see how many percentage points did each trade generate. On the aggressive profit, you can see that. Notice aggressive profit dollar. So you had an 11% gain, an 8% gain, a 5, a 2, a 1 and change. And then at the very worst, you lost 2 and 1. Now, Brad, switch it to conservative real quick so we can just kind of take a look and see. So here's the conservative profit. Also 11, 8, 5, 1, and you got a bunch of zeros because you were just getting out of stuff. And you lost on 6% and 2%. And then moderate.
You can see more right here.
Right, you can see more. And picking the battle, I mean, that's part of the artistry of being a person and not just being everything computer driven. There's different ways and different times, different markets behave differently that make it applicable for a better conservative, moderate, or of course aggressive. Nevertheless, you have a choice and you can work between the 3. And so let me go back now, Brad, switch it to the picture real quick that you were showing. So just pop that picture in from the PowerPoint. Okay. So notice that here I'm showing you all profitable trades. And you can see that in change from entry. And the reason that we're doing it this way, ladies and gentlemen, is a focus reason. When you're looking at the profitable trades, so if they're negative, they just disappear. So that means you don't have to focus on it. When they're profitable, again, you stay in them because they are profitable. So this is a mnemonic technique to stay in your winning trades and focus on the winning trades. That's the way your AI should work, and that's what we're doing here. And this mode is going to help you do that. We're going to do amazing things with a ticker that helps you see when trades that are losing are starting to head in the direction of the trade. And also something that Barry, our good friend and moderator of the trading room, has talked a lot about. We're going to make it so that in the near future, if an AI trade is stopped out, but then it crosses the stop again, that becomes an entry point. So somebody can just trade stops. It's basically like a mean reversion type of strategy, Brad, you know? And lots of people have been asking us about that. And of course, we're going to implement that. Okay, let's go
I
back
want
to.
to, one thing that kind of came to my mind as I'm looking at this image right here. One of the reasons why, we've got these three different profit modes, and let's say you trade the conservative mode. If you're only looking at the conservative value right here, as soon as the stock gets out of it, or as soon as we get out of that position, either through a timed exit or a profit save or what have you, that profit column, if you will, is not going to update anymore. So you're not going to really know if you're only looking at the conservative profit column in this window if that stock continues to go. But by having the aggressive column visible, you can start to see that continuing to, to tick here, and that the value and the dollars are going to continue to add to this column here, where they wouldn't in the conservative.
Correct. And again, there's a reason to have all three. It's sort of like a red light, green light, yellow light to some extent. Red's not really the appropriate way to describe conservative, but just risk, modes. It's kind of like also a ski mountain approach. You have the green, the blue, and the black, and it just depends on your skill level and tolerance for what you're seeing. You have all three options with trade ideas. Okay, Brad, go ahead. Switch to what
When
you
I
were saying.
brought this, you had me change the different AI trade size. I just want to point out this other option that we have. It's a little more obscure. People may not know what it is just by looking at it. So I'll point it out. This risk-based stop that we have, it's a pretty unique way to determine your risk control. So in a situation like this, if I have 100 set up here as my risk-based stop, then essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to share size myself an appropriate amount of shares. So if the stop is hit, and there's a stop on every one of these AI trades, if that stop is hit, I'm only going to lose $100. So these shares, this share size column represents the number of shares that would accomplish that. If everything moved against you and the worst case scenario happened, we'd be out, what, $1,000 here because we have 10 trades and we would have lost $100 on each one. So it's a pretty interesting way to do that. And what you can see as I make those changes here, this profit here changes accordingly. So if I go to tools, options, and I go back to my initial way, which was $5,000 per trade instead of $100 risk, we're going from 674 to 1,300. And so you can kind of play around with it and see exactly what the different profitability would be on these different scenarios that you can set up.
So this, Brad, what you're reminding me right now is something that Brad and I touch upon at the end of every presentation, but there was a question about how do you set up the autopilot. And what I want to share is that on this Q&A, of course, we don't go into the full details of that because it's just a lesson. But here's something that you guys all need to know. We have, and Brad, we'll discuss some of that, but I'm just bring that in, by the way. Go ahead, Brad, bring that in. And I want to discuss what you're doing there because I think it's a good use case for the software, but I wanted to just make sure that everybody knew that if you go to our YouTube page or search trade ideas, and you will see every one of those questions answered in detail in video. And that's really the best way to do it. So all of these little nuanced things, you can just watch it over and over again. But here's Brad showing you how he's using Brokerage Plus in simulation mode and what he's doing with it. Brad, showcase.
Yeah, so there are so many different ways to use Brokerage Plus, and like I said at the very beginning of the webinar, you don't really have to be connected to a broker to get value out of it. This is such an incredible tool at looking at your portfolio from a profitability perspective, when you've been profitable, when you haven't, how the day is going. And so the way that I use it, I've got a couple of different trading accounts that I use, and I manually enter these orders in. I mean, I do it through the order entry panel, but I use trade ideas to find the position that I'm looking for. Once I do that, I'll just go ahead and enter that in if I'm going to buy that stock. I'm not doing a lot of in and out, in and out, in and out. So that might not be the best way, to use this if you're doing that type of real high-speed day trading. But if you're doing some swing trading or it could even be intraday trading. It could be day trading, but I'm not just in a minute, out a minute. So I essentially what I'll do is I'll just have my brokerage account on another screen, and I'll put the trade in, and then I'll put it in through here, and this lets me manage it. I never look at my brokerage account web page or whatever it is that I'm using. I'm always using this here, and when something starts moving against me or after I get out of something, I've got great visibility, into that. Did it start to move again after I got out of it? Did it move against me or in the right direction? All of that is giving me that kind of real-time feedback. And then I've got multiple accounts up here through different tabs. The different tabs can have positions, or it could have the orders that I've placed during the day. And we've got so many different things. I think early on there was someone talking about automating Holly, and you can do that through Brokerage Plus right here. If you have a premium subscription, you can do that through the Holly tab, and you can turn on any of the strategies that you want to trade automatically. I mean, it's a more advanced thing, but you can also set that up in the simulator so you're not really risking any capital. So this is all simulation, even though I've got these kind of mirroring other accounts, but we also have a full-on simulator account that you can use as well. So in addition, in this connection here, I can connect to E-Trade, live brokerage account. I can connect to Interactive Brokers, live brokerage account. I can connect to, Trade Ideas simulated trading account. We've got TDA and Alpaca coming. It's being worked on. There are a few things that are problematic, but we're working our way through that. So you can
Let me,
have a mix of
Brad,
simulated and real accounts. Yep.
so one of the things that we always touch upon is that people underestimate the need for a very powerful simulated trading environment, and ours is the best there is, like by 10x, okay? And the reason you need it is the same reason that boxing and MMA people and basketball people need a gym, or professional golfers need a driving range. This is where you work out. The amount of reps you do on simulated trading has a direct result to how good your feel is for the market, because what you learn to do is to process movement through P&L. Think about this for a minute. Movement through P&L. Most people intuitively have never seen stocks tick and how those ticks or movements affect their P&L. You can be, look, by the way, Brad, what a great image the P&L graph shows. Look how you were up all day, but what happened in the middle?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of emotion that goes into that right there. I mean, if you're looking at it tick for tick, but yeah, I mean, this thing pulled all the way back. I think it even went negative at one point during the day, before we had. And if you look at the spiders, you just bring in a chart and you pull up something like the spiders, and you see exactly what it did. I think I have this all wrong, but
Well, there's that thing in the middle.
yeah, I mean, this is exactly what it did today, and it kind of came all the way, and then it bounced up, and it bounced up hard. So, that really was exactly what happened with the portfolio as well.
But mastering your ability to process that information is mastering your emotions, which declouds judgment. So you have to have what the professionals in poker say, a poker face when you trade, because your emotions get spurred by P&L movements. And of course, you still need to be aware of it, because should something terrible be happening, you have to take action. But depending on how volatility works and how each different position works, by putting in simulated trading reps, as Brad is doing there all the time, and myself and almost everybody who uses this technology, you're in essence becoming better. You're becoming better at being able to manage your emotional reaction to profit swings, and which allowed Brad to not exit on the lows, okay, and ride it and continue to highs. There's lots of myth in the stock market where you can't turn a winner into a loser and all this stuff. Really, everything is about risk management. How much are you risking? And had you bailed there at that zero, would you have emotion? Do you know yourself enough to know, would you have really gotten back in? And most people know the answer is no, because there's this big attachment to getting out. Again, very heavy emotional business, the stock market. So what we're trying to do at Trade Ideas is give you the tools and the technology to be able to master yourself, master your emotions, and benefit. And there is no better tool out there than our simulated trading, because as Brad has shown you, not only can you just trade, but you can auto trade using the simulated trading environment, and of course at the same time hybrid, where you can get in but just not exit and manage the risk. So this is again like a weightlifter who's doing legs one day, chest the next day. You can practice exits, or you can practice entries, or you can practice something like when you watched Holly, and let's say she gets stopped out, right? You can practice, well, what if I'm using the stops as my entries? So Brad, I go through the two stops and say, those are your two trades today at the stop level. So not even the re-entry per se, but you're playing a different game. So click on
Yeah, so this
ATVI.
guy right here, I mean, the first one here, we got stopped out, right?
Yep,
Right here. If we would have bought it at that, or we would have shorted it at this point, right?
right.
It's a short. And so we would have, I mean, there was some good, at least a point in there.
That's
But
right.
if you would have held it to the end, it would have erased. So these are opportunities, right? It's not like you start at the beginning of the day and you end at the end. That's so robotic. I mean, that's not the way it really works in real life.
The
That's the
term
way
day trading,
automation would work. But see, that's one of the reasons why I don't personally automate Holly. There's a lot of great stuff that you can get by automating it, but I I think that's for people that don't really understand the market, really, that understand the nuances of the market. I love seeing the calls. I pull it up and make my own decision at that point, because there are a lot of different factors that go into it. Is the market look like it's a good day to trade long? Is it a good day to trade short? These different things that I take in, and then I use Holly's idea and I'll use my confirmation to make that final decision.
yeah, it's all risk management and learning by doing without risking capital. One of the biggest mistakes that people do in the financial market, and we've talked about this on many webinars, is they instantly jump in with real money with hopes of exaggerated results. And that's like me going to the Lakers open tryout. I'm waiting in line there. Okay, guys, look, and I made a couple of free throws.
It'll be a
But
great
come on,
memory.
what?
It'll be a great memory.
It'll be a great, just like when I tried out for the US Open, Brad. In golf. You see how far I got. But yet, for some reason, in the stock market, everyone's like, yeah, stocks. I have a brokerage account. I'm in. No, 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 no. It requires a mental investment, and we're just the provider of the best technology to get you to manage yourself. This is a self-management endeavor. Stock market and how you perceive it is a part of your own growth and how you experience it. Everyone's is different. But we have the tool set because we've just done it so many times. And of course, we've been doing this for over 21 years, that we just know the experiences that people go through. And as Brad said, you guys are venture capitals. If you didn't subscribe to us, none of this would happen and we wouldn't be here. But we're here and we're growing and we're the best that there is in the whole world because you guys recognize it. And by you guys, I mean all of our customers, not necessarily every single person that's in the webinar right now. But rest assured, we are the best. And the innovation pipeline, guys, is amazing. Okay. So, Brad, do me a quick favor, pop in the after hours channel if you can. So we made the since the last Q&A webinar, we've done some things to the races. We're continuing to improve them. You can also see, Brad, maybe touch base on the fact that in the top of the charts, we have a better icons where you can see which, what thing it is. So this, like, you can select the order types right there. constant improving. Like, here's the thing, guys, we're going to catch TradingView and pass them. They just can't never catch us with the analytics. I mean, they have good charts. I'm not saying there's other people like eSignal and whatever, but catching up to charting is super simple, and we're obviously adding our own flavor to it. It's all the other stuff that nobody does, the server stuff, the AI, the back testing, the racing that we're making, that makes it like click on PD real quick, Brad, the post-market gainer here, PagerDuty. You're seeing this information in a way that is a combination of course, gamification and improved visualization, but it's a way to view lots of things of relative strength. So you're seeing like who's relatively gaining more or less, okay? And we think this is a game changer for everybody because so many people have commented once they start seeing the races, they really can't watch stuff without them. And we're in the process of improving them too. Remember, this is first iteration, and it's taking this topless data and it's bringing it to life. Soon, so many more aesthetic things are going to be added to these races, including, again, smoother animation, better way to see it, and you will be able to place your own bets on the races, okay? Okay, do you think REI will win this 10-minute race? Let's click on it here real quick and see. Ring Energy, I hope so, because I'm big in energy. But this is the idea, you know.
And this is the real important thing. I think the takeaway here, Dan, that a lot of people don't necessarily get right off the bat is the fact that what we're looking at here. So we're looking at a race off of this top list here, right? It's looking at these symbols based on the way we've got the top list pulling in data. But what it's doing different than the top list here. This top list is just looking at all these stocks and it's ranking it based on change in the post market. But let's say CERE starts to go. Well, this thing's not going to move up until it actually passes this point here, 10.47. So you're not going to see that action. But what you're going to see on the race is you're going to see CERE start to move ahead of the other guys because since we started the race, it's moving more than everything else. So it's all relative since you start the race. And that's a real important distinction because as you're trading, you want to get things that are happening right now or that are starting to move, and this is your indication of that.
I really believe, Brad, it's a game changer in the way people will perceive data and all the stuff that we're doing. We're going to be the kind of product that everyone must have, and the fact that you guys have been with us early just gives you such an advantage because you know how to navigate it, you know how to drive it. You're smarter than your neighbor. You've got the right tech at your fingertips. You're here, you're listening to the CEO, the COO. And what we're trying to tell you is that the pipeline is long and strong. So much innovation is continuing to come because we're rebuilding the way you can interact with our data. And it's just amazing. You know, again, you can see just all the different graphical things that we've done to the charting. Okay. Brad's voting something cool from them.
Well, I don't know how cool it is, but I want to create a custom channel. I saw that comment coming through here.
Just don't do it the way I showed you.
Probably not. So I've got, exactly, huh? I've got this layout right here, right? So I'm going to go ahead and save it to the cloud, even though I had it to the cloud, but we're just going to say chart doc example. And I'll save and share it. So I copy this to my clipboard. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a new docked channel bar, or I could just open up a channel bar. I'm going to select this option right here, and I'm going to go to edit custom channels. Now I've got 5 of them, so I can only have 5 of them. Let me delete one of them here. All right, so let's go ahead and add the channel. So we have a new channel. We're working on this image editor here. It's gonna get a little bit better, but for right now, if I'm gonna go ahead and upload an image, let's which one do I want to use? Let me grab something here. Just grab some cars. And I'll save it. I should have done this earlier, but let me just go ahead
That's
and.
okay. I mean, you're showing them what you're doing, and this is the kind of stuff that's kind of good to show because lots of people aren't probably haven't experienced this, but
So I
it's
would take more time with my image, obviously, or you can use one of our predefined images, but I save that to my desktop. So what I'm going to do, let's go to the desktop. It should be at the bottom. So I would get the right size, but I'd have my image right here. And so I can type what I want it to be. This is my custom example. And we'll just write the name on there and it'll pop it. Probably wouldn't want it that long. Do it this way. And then I can just go ahead and paste in my cloud link right here, or I could have hit that select from cloud. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to apply it. And so there's my custom channel. And I can just go ahead and select it.
It's a beautifully powerful, customizable tool, customizable in ways that many people aren't aware that you can just do so much. And by the way, in terms of why we built the races, you see how here Brad's looking at 8 charts, but your eyes here, Brad, do me a favor, put each one to 1 minute, just real quick. Number one, again, there's a little thing there. Yep, 1.
They're all the same stock.
Well, okay. Are they all linked, or can you change like the different stocks?
They're all linked, but I could turn the linking off.
Yeah.
I can't do it that way.
Our software is so powerful, Brad, and I need lessons.
No. It's just I have to turn it off individually here because each one is set up.
But what I'm trying to show you is the difference between the race and the charts. So even though Brad had it on the same stock, but it was different time frames, the point I was trying to make is that it's very similar to being able to watch 8 different charts at once. But when you're watching 8 different charts at once, it's hard to figure out exactly what's relatively stronger than the other one because you have to figure out percentages in your head. Okay. Whereas in the race example, that's not what's happening. Computer is doing it all for you and bringing in separate views so that you know exactly which one is relatively stronger than the other. And so this is what that is. And a lot of times traders used to spend so much money on double and triple monitors, making sure they can watch 4 monitors with 30 stocks on each, but you can't do that. Okay. And again, you're not going to be able to do it in a relative percentage point sense. So here you have it. Okay. Which one of these is on a percentage basis moving higher? You do not know. But Brad, if you bring in a race and minimize this dock, like the one that we were watching before, I don't know if you have it on another computer. Okay. But as Brad's bringing this in, you'll just very quickly, once the green light goes, contemplate, number one, that you're looking at much more than 8. You're looking both positive and negative movements at the same time. And of course, the relativity. You just can't do anything about that. Okay.
So let me show you how you actually launch your own stock race. So you have to create your top list, whatever it is that you want to be looking at. In this case here, I could look at something like top percentage daily gainers. So I've got that right there. And once you have that list sorted the way that you want, right click in here and we're going to launch a real-time stock race. And this is where you can define some parameters. When it says race lanes, how many symbols do you want to run in the race? Let's just say something like 10. How long do you want the race to run? So we can have 2 different types of race. We can have a timed race, and you can determine you want it to go for, say, 5 minutes, or you can go for an hour, or you can set it up to be based on a value. So maybe the first stock to get up 2% could be the value, something like that. Right now, let's just go on time, makes it easy. and we're going to determine what do we want to base this race on. And we can look at, say, change from the close percentage. Percentage is a nice thing because it's like the equalizer for all stocks, whether a stock is $40 or a stock is $2. I don't want to be looking at penny movement. I want to be looking at percentage. So percentage is what we want here. We're going to sort on, what I really like to sort on is delta value. I like running a delta race because this is letting me know from the moment I start the race what is moving, what's going to win the race. So it's a very logical way to approach it. And then you've got some settings right here. You can have it replace cars, and essentially, like our top lists, update every 30 seconds from the perspective of going back to the server, seeing what your sort order is and bringing in the appropriate stocks that meet that criteria. You can have it set up to replace cars. So if a new stock just starts to run up through this list right here and appear, it'll enter the race. So I like having replace cars on most of the time. Auto rerun is something that we have for channels. You may want to set it up so that after a race is complete, it'll automatically run again. The winners will get archived over here on the race lane, on the winners lane, so you can see exactly who won each and every race. And then there's a new feature, which I'll show you here as soon as I'm done doing the configuration. If you want to do a reverse race where you're looking for the worst winner, the worst to be the winner, so like the biggest loser or something like that, you would put the biggest loser wins checkbox. And then auto start on load. So this is essentially when the channel, the cloud link, the layout loads up. If a stock race is in it and this is set to check, it'll automatically start. So you just start the race like this, it'll do the countdown, and then everything will happen. Obviously, races after hours aren't quite as interesting as as all the volume that's happening during hours, during the market session. But as stocks win, they're going to appear over here. And then we have an option as you right click on any of our windows, you're going to get a context sensitive menu of things you can do with that window. But here, if you do it in the race lane or anywhere in the stock race, you can either have show top 10 winners. Nothing's going to happen here because it's all fresh, but essentially it's going to show you a ranked list of the top 10 winners that have been running since you've had this race opened. So you can be running multiple races and it'll keep track of all that right there. So different ways to look at it. If you weren't looking at the show all, if you weren't looking at the top 10, you would show all winners right here. So you
And
just
remember, Brad, I want to make sure people know being able to configure a race is not something that you need to do because we've designed the channel bar in such a way that almost all popular channels now have a race component that's germane to the title of the channel and helps you navigate it. So you can do a lot of watching right away and understand what we're bringing to market without the need to try to figure it out. And that is really
that's a great question right there. Obviously you can see mine is starting right away as opposed to waiting the 30 seconds. We're doing a lot of great things with the software. We're speeding up the charts. We're speeding up the top list data. We've already sped up the brokerage plus data. So you're getting, tick-based updates and all of that's working its way through our software. And as that happens in the top list, and I'm working on the dev version, as it happens in the top list, we're going to be getting much faster races. It won't be limited to that 30-second update. The top list will be updating every 5 seconds, and we'll do that resorting of the list where we go back to the server. We'll keep that at every 30 seconds so things don't change and move too fast. But yeah, everything in the software is getting enhanced, and we're really excited because that's going to provide a lot of benefit to all the different tools that we have now and that we'll be continuing to create.
All right, Brad, let's finish up. We're at the wrap up point of the Q&A. And what I want to do real quick is if you go to the website, Brad, if you can for me, and just point like how somebody can navigate to getting some help. I like doing this because again, people just haven't done it. Let's say you want to sign up for a trade ideas lesson of some kind. How would you do it from the website?
It's a great
Brad's
question.
never done it. That's like
That's a great question. I would go to support. I would probably do this education right here. We've got educational videos. Barry's probably just rolling in his chair right now. You come down here, we can submit a support ticket. You can join our weekly QA. That was a terrible
Brad,
demo.
do me a favor. Will you go to our YouTube channel?
Yeah, I can do that.
So I just want to make sure that people know it's right there. Very easy.
Hello.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, so notice that we have a Trade Ideas educational channel, and there's, go to the playlists, see what that does. Okay, we have TI Trader hacks, stock racing shorts, trade of the week. There's so many different aspects, and of course, the videos range from just basics of getting started to virtually anything and everything that you can find on Trade Ideas. And the user's guide, oh my goodness, bring that up. Guys, tell me, when have you ever seen a user's guide this good? And again, obviously Brad can click on some of this stuff, but you'll see what I'm talking about when he does. So look at what it does. I mean, everything is just completely dialed in detail.
Yeah,
Yes,
like, you know, we've been doing this for 20 years, so it's a pretty complex product. There's a lot to it. You should be able to hit the ground running right away, but if you dig deep into it, it can do so much.
So David asked a question that's really one of my favorite things. It's called the I stops. An I means for invisible. We're going to be doing all of our stop orders and limit orders of all kinds on the server. So it's going to be kind of a different type of order flow where they're not going to be visible to the market makers until they're executed. It's going to be amazing, and people are going to rush to have that. Juan asked about the dock channel bar is also different from the regular one. I think they're similar now. And again, make sure, Juan,
No, I need it. It's a to-do, because last week we went through and we really streamlined and updated our dock channel bar. So it's
okay.
to do this week to go through the free-floating channel bar and bring them into parity.
Right, we're going to do that one. They're going to be the same. So I would stay with the docked one because it's kind of more up to speed. Okay. All right, Brad, let's bring in the end of the PowerPoint and finish this up. Okay, we got all that stuff. Keep going. Okay, obviously racing. Okay, please don't subscribe to Trade Ideas. The reason I'm telling you not to do it because you need to read our first FAQ, but people ask us, man, your software is so expensive. Can I get a discount? And of course, by the way, today you get a promo code, March on, 20% off your first month of the year or a year of Trade Ideas. But ladies and gentlemen, if you have trouble paying $7.50 per day for AI forward-facing technology that's doing what we're doing, do not trade. Save yourself the money. You're emotionally not ready to do that. This should be like nothing. You should be like, what are these guys smoking? And somebody please keep them smoking it so that they continue to give this product away. We are not expensive, and if you think that we are, again, this is why we made this slide, so that you know how much our product costs per day. That's not how we charge monthly or annually. This is what you're paying on a daily basis. Okay, so think about that and do not subscribe to our software if you think it's expensive. Support sessions, as we were mentioning before in the Q&A, our support is bar none. Please visit it at trade-ideas.com/live. And Brad already went there, was confused because he doesn't go to our support sessions that often. Maybe you should, Brad, I don't know.
Depends. I should.
Possibly. But our support was the best, including this trading room, which is such a valued resource, a meritocracy of community of expert Trade Ideas users and lots of window shoppers, with Barry leading the way. He's on simulated mode, trading his real positions and just showing different ways you can work the system. And Barry has his own channel on the channel bar, so take a look at that. And for anybody interested, we highly recommend that you'd spend some time in Barry's trading room, trade-ideas.com/trading room. As we mentioned before, of course, interactive brokerage, full power, automation. Right now, you still have to pay commission, but there soon will be an option for zero trading. And E-Trade, the next one, I believe is the next slide, is also available to you. And E-Trade is our zero commission alternative, also very good. And lots of people, we have almost 8,000 customers around the world, paying subscribers, and lots of people are trading and using the brokerages. Okay, so it's very easy to get a hold of us. We're active on all social media. Check us out on TikTok, on YouTube, on Insta, like us on Facebook, and we're very easy to get a hold of. Of course, you can call, but we prefer if you have a question, just shoot us email to info@trade-ideas.com, and you will be promptly responded to with hopefully a very good answer. We thank you for your time, and we hope you continue as a subscriber. And if you're not, please subscribe, and you will see why we are the leading vendor of this type of technology all around the world. Thank you, guys. Scott, I think we're good.
We lost him.
Okay, that's fine. Zero commission sends coming, no problem. That'll be an option in preference to turn off commissions.
Sounds good. All right, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you, guys.